Hello, this lesson is for Tuesday, April 28th to help with our English Language Arts class for 7th graders. We're in Unit 5, page 446 of the My Perspectives book. This should look somewhat familiar. And our reading is just 2 pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the 2 pages. Feel free to use this video when completing your Google Doc. And you can pause it and follow along, because in the Google Doc, I tell you to look at certain paragraphs, so this might help you here. So this is facing adversity. We did do some of this in class about Sully, the pilot that safely landed the airplane into the Hudson River. And there's even a movie about it with Tom Hanks, who's the guy from Forrest Gump, and he's Woody from Toy Story 2. But this is how he faced adversity and what he did to overcome it. So let's zoom in on the reading here. Here we go. If you have to ditch a commercial aircraft in the Hudson River, the news anchor joked, this is the guy you want. The guy was U.S. Airways pilot Sully Sullenberger III. He was a 57-year-old former Air Force fighter pilot and a 29-year veteran of the U.S. Airways. On January 15, 2009, Sullenberger was the pilot on U.S. Airways Flight 1549 from New York's LaGuardia Airport to Charlotte, North Carolina. Flight 1549 left the tarmac at 3:25 p.m., so it'd be about period 6 our time. Sullenberger thought he was in for an average flight, just a routine everyday trip. The flight was unremarkable for the first 90 seconds. Then something caught the eye of the co-pilot, Jeff Skiles. At 3,000 feet, he saw a flock of Canadian geese headed towards the plane. Moments later, the geese struck the fuselage, wings, and engine. We're now in paragraph 6. The passengers felt a powerful thud against the airplane, followed by severe vibrations from the engine. One passenger said it sounded like sneakers thumping around in the dryer. There was a loud explosion. The cabin filled up with smoke, and there was a horrible smell, then an eerie quiet. Both engines were disabled. We're now in paragraph 7. Sullenberger made a mayday call, mayday, that means help, radio call to air traffic control and calmly explained the situation. They discussed the options. The plane could either return to LaGuardia or land at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey. Sullenberger knew the situation was too dire for the plane to stay in the air long enough for either plan to be successful. He had about 30 seconds to find an alternative. The pilot decided... We're now at the top of the next page. The pilot decided on a more radical move. He ditched the plane in the Hudson River despite the fact that passenger jets are not built to land on water. He said, "Brace for impact," came the captain's voice over the intercom, and a hush fell over the passengers. They thought they were going to die. Sullenberger lowered the plane's nose in a gradual glide towards the river. The plane managed to clear the George Washington Bridge and, against the odds, land safely on the surface of the Hudson. It skidded across the water at 145 miles per hour and finally slowed to a stop. We're now in paragraph 11. He was thinking in nanoseconds, said a former airline pilot, speaking of Sullenberger. He made all the right choices at all the right times. He might have been staring at the instruments, but he was feeling the airplane in his hands. He picked his landing spot and he went for it. Now Sullenberger's job was to get the people off the plane, which was quickly filling with water. Witnesses were convinced that everyone on Flight 1549 was dead. What they couldn't see were the passengers were already exiting the plane with waters seeping into the plane. Sullenberger and Skiles walked the length of the cabin twice, calling, "Is anyone there?" The water was so cold they had to walk on top of the seats, but they would not leave the plane until they were sure everyone was out. We're now in the last couple paragraphs here. We're in paragraph 14. "He's the man," said one of the rescued passengers. "If you want to talk to a hero, get a hold of him." After all the thanking was over, Sullenberger was humble. "You're welcome," he said simply. Like most heroes, he didn't want the label. According to him, he was just doing his job. But 154 men, women, and children owed their lives to a modest man who faced adversity with cool competence on one of the most remarkable days in aviation history. So this was the introduction to Unit 5. Hopefully this will help you with your Google Doc questions. Please pause this video and use it for support. See you next time.